going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Acre Gold Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Matt Llewellyn. And tonight, we're also joined by Forever Faithful podcast host Brandon and my guy Dion of the Niner Gang podcast. Brandon, how you doing? Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Off to a good start, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, man, I'm feeling great. Ready for this game, man. I'm so ready.
Yes, sir. Matt, how about you? How you doing up there?
I'm doing great, man. I'm with Dion. I'm ready for this game. I got to work tomorrow night, so I'm going to come off in the morning, get a little nappy nap in, wake up, and be there in time for the 49ers to stomp the shit out of these Cowboys.
That's right. I love it, man. This has been a crazy week leading up. The media is like so unsure of how to call this game. I've seen these ESPN professionals predicting all Niners or all Cowboys. Very rarely do I see a kind of a split down the middle. Dion, how are you feeling about this game as far as matchup wise? Who do you think gets the edge as far as talent?
It's a little hard, man, because Luke Walsh in the comments put it best, man. It's so it's evenly matched in different ways. They've got their like little mini Debo and Cedric Wilson. Then you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Amari Cooper. I'm not going to mention their run game because it's completely non-existent. Especially against our defense, we will murder them when they try to run the ball. The only person I even think I might be a little bothered by is Tony Pollard, and that's just if he squeaks through and grabs a couple extra yards, but I don't foresee that happening. So I would say the Niners have the edge in the run game, and it's probably a tie when it comes to the receiving game. Defensively, I think we're better. Honestly, I do. Save for maybe the defensive backs, but then again, Ambry Thomas has become a fantastic defensive back, and I've never seen a kid progress the way he has. With Emmanuel Mosley being healthy, we're good. I saw that Shark was back at practice, Tarden Ward on the back end. So, outside of Trayvon Diggs, I really don't fear their defensive backfield. But their front seven is nice, and young kid Micah Parsons is that's a grown ass man out there. But I think that, defensively we get the W because we're better. And I'd say in the run game, we're way better. As far as quarterbacks, I keep it a buck. Dak is obviously the better quarterback here.
Okay. You touched on the secondary for the Cowboys. I was looking up their PFF grades. Trayvon Diggs, 81st. This is their run defense, but I think this is important because it's a huge part of run defense. 81st out of 82. Anthony Brown, 47th out of 82. Jordan Lewis, 70th out of 82. Jaron Kearse, 26 out of 64 safeties. And DeMonte KZ, 51st out of 64. So they are definitely not going to be shoring up that back end as far as helping the running attack of the 49ers. Matt, how do you feel?
By the way, do y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that train in the background? That's the 49ers victory train about to roll through these motherfuckers right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's go. No, hey, you know what? I agree with a lot of what Dion said. What I will say is that, Trayvon Diggs, man, he gets a lot of picks, but guess what? That dude is trying to be like his brother, except for the opposite. Like, he gave up 1,000 yards this year. You know what I'm saying? So, if whoever he's on is going to eat, it's just a matter of if Jimmy makes that mistake. And I think that's the real battle of these teams is which quarterback is going to make the mistake. I know that thing was going around where they were comparing percentage of this quarterback to this quarterback. And somebody put up Dak Prescott versus Jimmy, and Dak Prescott's 91% of what Jimmy Garoppolo is in terms of all that comparison. I think Dak Prescott is obviously the better quarterback, but I think that in a phone booth, you're looking at two quarterbacks that definitely need a lot of stuff around them going right for them to be super effective. And just remember, the Cowboys play in the NFC least, man. You got a straight up garbage organization in the Giants. You got a straight up garbage organization with the Washington football team. I know Ron Rivera is doing his best to keep that thing together, but it's not great. And Philly, they're good, but when you compare that to what the 49ers had to deal with in the NFC West, I mean, there's a reason why the Cowboys were so good in their division and not good outside of it, particularly against winning teams. And the 49ers, while 2-4 in their division, went what was it? 8-3? 8-3 outside of it, or 8-3 outside of it. So you're talking about completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Dallas is a trendy transplant city now. They don't have the strong fan base they had in the 90s. We already know that the faithful travel well. So be aware. I mean, Cowboys social media people put out, don't sell your tickets to Niner fans.
Literally.
Before the game was even, on the board, fresh on the board. The ink hadn't even dried in the paper yet. And they were like, don't sell your tickets. So to me, it comes down to who is going to have the better.
Tommy Huxley in there savaging. What's going on, man?
Tommy Huxley's our boy, though.
I love him. I love him, man. He's hilarious.
Tommy's a real one.
Yeah, Matt, touching on that too, it's they're 6-0 in the NFC East and 6-5 outside of the NFC East. So
right.
It just goes to prove that the Dallas Cowboys, could be a little bit of a fraud. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still a very talented team. They got some superstars, especially Micah Parsons, like Dion said, Trayvon Diggs in the corner spot. CeeDee Lamb is like factory built to play wide receiver. It's insane. He was my draft crush that year.
DeMarcus.
Yep. DeMarcus Lawrence. But I do think that they're vulnerable. And looking at the 49ers schedule here, they're 6-3 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not only that, I forget who tweeted it out. Splash Cousin, shout out to Splash Cousin. He said the road teams have won 10 of the last 14 wild card games in the NFL playoffs.
That's
10
real.
of the last 14.
That's real. And it's one of those things where who's going to cover Kittle? Who's going to cover Ayuk? Like this is not the matchup Dallas wanted. Out of all the matchups we could have got in the first round, this is the one that I like the most because Dallas is finesse.
Out of Michael Irvin's own mouth.
Yep. I would have worried about Tampa Bay. I would have worried about Arizona because we play Arizona tight no matter what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking recency bias being what it is, whatever. I just watched the Cowboys give up 26 to a Gardner Minshew offense. So forgive me if I'm not exactly quaking in my boots at that Dallas defense. The offense is going to come to play, but that's why I think it's going to come down to which quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes. That's who's going to win. Brandon, you ain't got in here yet, man. What do you think? What's your initial impressions, man? I got to kick it over to you.
Dude, honestly, I'm not too worried about this game, honestly. Like they hype Dallas up so much. It's kind of ridiculous. Like you guys said, they're 6-0 in their own division. And people gotta realize that division's so freaking horrible, number one. Number two, they lost against Arizona, right? What, 2 weeks ago?
They lost to Arizona pretty bad.
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
And then
what was it, like 40? It was like 42 to like 20 something.
Yeah, I think so, something like that. And then you gotta think about this too. Dak Prescott is kind of like Jimmy G, where he's consistently inconsistent too. On top of that, and when he plays the better teams, especially. I think they lost against all the playoff teams that are in this playoff this year too, as well. I believe. He doesn't look good. The defense usually steps up for them and wins them the games if needed. So I was in Twitter Spaces the past couple nights with these Dallas fans, dude. I mean, I said it in the chat. These guys are like so hyped up, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, you guys." You're definitely losing this game for sure. I'm like, I don't even think we're that bad. Like, we'll say like it's gonna be a good game and everything like that, but like they think, oh yeah, Micah Parsons is gonna destroy your guys' O-line. I'm like, don't get me wrong, Parsons is a great player, but if he matches up against Trent Williams, dude, I don't see it happening at all.
He's gonna get ripped. And you got to pick your poison too, right? Like if you're going to rush Micah Parsons, who's going to cover the middle of the field where Kittle's going to eat all day? I want to touch on what you said, though, about Cowboys fans being out of pocket. I had a Twitter interaction with somebody who was like, oh, Dallas San Francisco secondary sucks. And I'm like, I mean, they don't suck. They're the third overall ranked defense in the NFL. And that dude was like, yeah, but Dak Prescott has a super high passer rating against blitzing defense, and the 49ers love the blitz. And I'm like, See, you're diming yourself out as a casual because they blitz the fourth lowest amount in the NFL.
God,
and then
dude.
he comes back with, well, they like the blitz on third down. And I'm like, get out of here, man. You don't know what you're talking about. And this is what I'm talking about with the casual Dallas fan is going to think, oh, the Cowboys got this, but that stadium's going to be a sea of red because 49ers fans travel everywhere. Everywhere you see red. Particularly when the team's competitive. And the last time in 2014, when the team wasn't even that good, they still went into Dallas and it was like 75%. I mean, I was at the game last week and it was 70% 49er fans in the Rams house in a fight for the division game. So, playoff time, 49er fans going to travel.
We got a super chat here from Fernando. Hey, Zach, Matt, and Dion, and Brandon. I'll throw that in there. How's it going? My main concern in this game is Jimmy. Will we see good or bad Jimmy? Kyle versus Quinn is interesting. Dion, I'm going to throw it over to you. Which Jimmy shows up? And does it matter?
It does matter. It matters big time which Jimmy shows up. We need good Jimmy. We need 2-minute Jimmy Garoppolo all game long. I need Jimmy to think it's a 2-minute session for every damn drive that we have. Because for some reason on 2-minute sessions, he seems to figure out how to play football again. And he knows what he does. And he just keeps making things happen. As far as Kyle versus Quinn, that's an interesting matchup. See, a lot of people are saying that, Kyle's going to automatically win. Here's the thing. As long as Kyle was with him, he was with Kyle. So he understands his tendencies. He knows what he likes to do. I'm going to tell you right now, though Kyle may have switched a few things up, changed up a few motions, the offense is still the same to an extent. So what do you do as a defensive coordinator? You look and you go, okay, I know he likes to go here. Typically, this is what he does in this situation. I know that. So just as much as, Kyle knows Quinn, Quinn knows Kyle. Now, for me, my thing is I don't know why anybody on the on the Dallas defense wants smoke with Kittle. I have no idea why. The man is basically Stone Cold Steve Austin in the goddamn 49ers outfit. In a uniform. Like, he really wants to hit you. He would stunner you on the field if he could get away with it. Like, that's literally what he could do. And if you look at it, just tight end for tight end, obviously we're better. Who knows about Brett Swain? Who can tell me anything about Brett Swain? Exactly. No one can. So, I think it's a situation where we need Jimmy to show up like he's running a 2-minute drill on a consistent basis, and he needs to be very careful with the ball. My main issue is if we get into a shootout, I'm going to keep it a buck. I am not counting on Jimmy Garoppolo to dig us out of that damn hole. I'm going to have to count on our defense to make plays and keep us in the game and stop them, but I'm not counting on him to dig us out of a hole. If he throws 1 TD and 2 interceptions this game, we're going home.
And also on top of that, they can't get out of the first half with 3 points again.
No.
They did that for 2 weeks in a row. We can't afford to do that against a high-powered offense like the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy Huxley has a super chat here. He says, the Cowgirls still think Norman is playing. And I did see this tweet. This guy, I don't know if it was the same guy you got into it with, Matt, but he was kind of getting roasted and was saying, well, Norman's back there. Like, all we got to do is throw it at him every play. Norman hasn't played since the Texans game.
If they throw to Norman, that means Dak Prescott's throwing the ball away because Nick Bosa's after his ass.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I will say this: I think it's funny. I know, we're talking about Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan being together. First of all, the rules always favor the offense. I will say that. And second of all, we're talking about the 49ers, which I found out today, which shocked the hell out of me. The 49ers lead the league in yards per play at 6.1 yards per play. And you're talking about a Dallas defense that's like overall, like I think 21st in total defense, team defense. Like, it's not like Dan Quinn is out there architecting this fantastic Legion of Boom style defense or whatever. Like, I think that, and don't forget, for as much as we like to talk about, Kyle doesn't change his offense that much. Dan Quinn ain't changing his defense that much. You also got to remember that Mike McCarthy is still the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And we know what that offense looks like. We knew what it looked like in Green Bay. We know what it looks like now. So in terms of coaching, I'm still going to give I would take Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniels and DeMeco Ryans over whatever Dallas has any day of the week. But you're right in that Jimmy can't We can't go down 17-0 this week. We cannot do that. That gives Dallas too much momentum. This is not a division game. You can't count on being able to come back. The 49ers have to get out to a hot start. What do you guys think about that?
I think
100%. Go ahead, Brian.
I think real quick, Dallas's defense is ranked 16th in the rush game for their defense. So as long as we run the ball down their throats, I think we should be okay.
115 yards per game, I believe they give up right around there, 112 to 115.
Which means Mitchell's going to get a $135.
Yeah. And also, too, we have all our running back core back, too, on top of that.
Sermon, baby. Special teams ace.
That's a good question. Why do you guys got to tell me why you think Sermon hasn't been playing, man? I jokingly say he slept with Kyle's wife or something. I don't know.
I think that something happened in the preseason where, because Brandon Ayuk was in the doghouse too, and Brandon Ayuk is a second year guy. Brandon Ayuk was in the doghouse for a half a season. I think Kyle's putting the rookie in the doghouse for the entire season. And I do think that part of it is I agree, and I know Christian, Brandon's co-host, has said this a bunch of times, and I agree with it, that I think Trey Sermon was drafted to pair with Trey Lance. And I think that they complement each other better, because if you're going to run more like RPO type stuff, Mitchell's going to get to the edges. Mitchell's going to hit holes. He's going to do all that stuff. But if you want a north and south guy so that Trey Lance can hit the edge, that's going to be Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's going to be your guy more so on that. And again, you don't want your running back. I mean, for as much as Elijah Mitchell has been great, he's also missed a bunch of games. And I think that's because look what happens when he's in there. Who else gets carries?
Nobody.
Wilson?
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson who? Who's that guy? They need to. I think they were planning on Trey Sermon working into the lineup, but I think that there was something that happened, a maturity issue, being a professional issue that really set Kyle off. And I think that Trey Sermon's still having to try to prove himself on a professional level. That's why you see him playing special teams. That's why they're monitoring like what he does. Like you can see it on the sidelines when people interact with him. They want to make sure that he's paying attention to the game. Same thing with Trey Lance to an extent, because you want your rookies paying attention to what's going on. But we know Trey Lance is dialed in. What do we see out of Trey Sermon?
Yeah. I can understand now. It's always good to get a different perspective, because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, when the kid came in, it wasn't like he did anything wrong. He didn't look horrible, but he just never got back on the field. And the one thing I will say is I love to watch the pressers before the games. Let me tell you something, okay? The best soundbite of all of the pressers was Kittle when he got up and walked away. Tuck your chains. Okay? Debo's coming. He gonna find your chain. He gonna snatch it off the chest, and he gonna laugh in your face. I'm so happy.
By the way, shout outs. I want to shout out Deebo Samuel for making first team All-Pro. And I want to shout
Trent
out
Williams.
All them crying ass Justin Jefferson fans, who is a phenomenal talent. Don't get me wrong. But them fans saying like, oh, it's a wide receiver award, his rushing yards don't count. Bullshit. They definitely count.
Wow.
And Deebo deserves first team All-Pro. I'm surprised Nick Bosa didn't get first team All-Pro.
I get Bosa got robbed, man.
I get Myles Garrett, but you're telling me that Robert Quinn and Max Crosby? Hell no.
Dude.
And then they said, Debo was asked in his interview, what position would he say he was if he met himself? He'd say he was a wide back, meaning he ran a running back. I think you've
been carrying the offense for a big part of the season. You need a wide back when you carrying the offense like that.
Yeah, man.
He's been really good. He's been phenomenal. And like after last season, I know I harped on him like big time. I'm like, dude eats too much McDonald's. Like he don't. And they've talked about it. Like he actively is working to keep that weight off no matter what. Yeah. They talked about this past week. It's like when Debo goes out and does what he does, it's hard for him to practice intensely. And he's got to work on maintaining flexibility, recovery, and his weight when he's not practicing hard. And he's hit a level of professionalism in year 3 that, I mean, it's impressive to see. And he's been so good. So good. It's great to see, because you can put him on the leadership level of a Kittle and a Jimmy and a Fred Warner, because he's not just talking the talk like I'm a good player. he's walking that walk, and he's had probably the best 49ers wide receiver season since Jerry Rice.
Yep, most definitely.
He balled out.
Jay Elliott, Mark Andrews, and Travis Kelce were the first team tight ends, which it is what it is. You guys touched on
Kittle missed some games, and I think that hurts him.
If he was healthy all year, he definitely would.
If he was healthy all year, he would have been over some of those guys, because you're looking at a lot of this is just raw number stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP not because of like more yards or more touchdowns. I think they're looking at that 4 picks and they're like, "Damn, dude." And that's impressive to me too. You play a season with 4 picks. God,
2 in week 1 and then 2 the rest of the
2
year.
in week 1 and 2 the rest of the way. I'm like, I would kill for that.
It's insane.
Jimmy be out here with a 1.66 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. And I'm like, damn, man.
You guys,
do you know Rodgers' career mark, by the way?
What's that?
4.83 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. He doesn't even have 100 career picks yet.
Yeah, that man is amazing.
You guys touched on the rush defense of the 49ers versus the rush offense of the Cowboys. So the Cowboys are 1-5 when they don't run for 100 yards. And the 49ers haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in 9 straight games. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Who was the guy that we gave it up to? Do you know?
I want to say it was Seattle.
Okay.
I could be wrong, though.
It wasn't, but that was a combined effort because Travis Homer had that rush for 80 yards on that trick punt play. So as far as that was a combined effort. There was nobody there. We haven't given up 100 yards to someone individually.
I will say
been running backs by committee.
That's a good point, but I will say this: Ezekiel might not be as good as he once was, but Pollard's pretty nice. So between the two of them, that's definitely something we got to watch out for.
Yeah, we don't need him to squeeze through a hole because he's got the speed. Once he gets there, he can get off and get moving.
Exactly.
And we just have to make sure we keep that in check.
Yeah. The better we defend the run, the better we can defend the pass, because then we don't have to bite on the play actions and the bootlegs that Dak likes to run, and we can sit and play straight up and honest with people like Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And I think who's number 1? Cedric Wilson? Is that their third wide receiver right now?
Yeah.
I saw him all over the field against Philadelphia, so you can't even sleep on him. They have weapons. I think the key is taking away the running game, because the running game sets Dak up to do the stuff that he likes to do the best. Dak is not a straight up drop back quarterback. He likes to work off of play action and boot action, and that's what helps him get into space and allows him to pick apart a defense. So if we can contain the run, which is a tall task given Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard, I like our chances.
I feel like too, if our D-line can pressure Dak as much as they did against Stafford, I think we should be all right too. Plus, if we see Zeke get the ball a lot more than Pollard, Zeke likes to fumble the ball a lot, so that'll be wonderful to see.
Yeah. Also,
how many fumbles he got this year? He got a lot, huh?
Yeah,
I feel like he's been coughing up the ball a lot.
He fumbled it last week against the Eagles too.
He needs to go to the Tiki Barber camp of like learning how to not fumble the ball.
This man finished with 2 yards over 1,000. 2 yards. Let's see. It shows here 2021 he only had 1 fumble. So maybe ESPN's tallying it wrong. But I wanted to say though, the way that the Cowboys kept in their offense against Gardner Minshew and the backups of the Eagles last week, I think showed a lot about how they feel about their team. I was listening to Haberman and Middlecoff, and they were saying that basically they either heard or they saw that they kept their offense out there and they made Dak throw 4 or 5 touchdowns, whatever the hell he threw for, because they were not confident in their offense and they were hoping to get some juice going into the postseason. Whereas the Eagles were like, it is what it is. They spent half their time focusing on either the Bucks or either the Rams. I forget who the 2 teams they could have possibly played. They spent their time watching film on them, all their starters. So the way the Cowboys ran up the score and did everything they could to make their offense look nice tells you they're not as confident about it as a lot of their fans probably think they are.
Well, these fans that I listened to in the spaces the past couple of days, they keep bringing up these 50 burgers that they got on their 2 worst division rivals, the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles.
I will say this though, I do think that what Zach is talking about with the Eagles or with the Cowboys running their starters out, they played on Saturday. I think if they won and Tampa Bay lost, they would have got the 2 seed. So I think that's why they did it. They played Saturday night, but there was a point where it's just like where I think there was a point where Dak scored like 3 straight touchdowns on 3 straight drives. It was a blowout. It's like, all right, dude, like that's cool.
You could have sat him at that point, most definitely.
Go ahead, Brandon. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're good. I also wanted to bring up too that the Cowboy fans in the spaces that I was listening to, they think that they're gonna see Trey Lance on Sunday. I said, dude, that's not happening at all. That stopped a long time ago.
As much as I would love to see Trey Lance on Sunday, I would be ecstatic if Trey Lance was starting this game. Unlike some people who love Jimmy and some people who believe that a rookie, it's too much for him. We won't see Trey Lance unless Kyle decides to put him in some random package, which I highly doubt, because
the thumb gets re-injured. That's the other.
I mean, now let me tell you this: if DeMarcus Lawrence land on Jimmy Garoppolo wrong, that thumb will be just flat out broken, because that is a large individual. I'm telling. I've seen, like, there's some people that you look at it and you see, and you're just like, good God, that's a large human being. DeMarcus Lawrence, Aaron Donald. I met Calais Campbell. I literally felt like a little person. I felt like a little person because he's so damn tall. I think he's like 6'8". And I met him at Tempe Marketplace when he was still playing for Arizona. Gentle giant, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But he was good. God, he was a massive human being. It's like if I see him coming down a dark alley, I'm sprinting the other way. I want no problem.
So I want to talk about this comment. J-Ron Curse talking all that ish. Dion, I think you brought this up earlier. So this is for Calvin Watkins on Twitter. Cowboy safety J-Ron Curse on facing tight end George Kittle. Quote, I'm ready for the task, but he has to go against me too. I kind of get ticked off when I'm being asked, Kittle this, Kittle that. He has to play me too. So we'll see how this shakes out. I'm sorry. Who are you?
What?
Who are you?
I'm going to tell you how this is going to shake out. Javon Curse is going to get cooked like Sunday morning bacon. Yeah. Like, that's how that's going to go. Like, I understand. And here's the thing. You don't hear Buda Baker coming out and saying that shit.
No.
You don't say, even Keith Byard didn't come out and say that shit. Yep. Like the good safeties, they don't say nothing because they know how good Kittle is. This kid's going to learn today.
Yep.
He's going to learn.
Let me say this. I used to groom dogs.
Don't even believe that Kittle didn't cut out that comment and put it in his locker because you know his ass did.
Oh, yeah.
I used to groom dogs. It was always the Chihuahuas that barked. The Rottweilers, Dobies, German Shepherds. Quiet, calm. It was the little Yorkies, Chihuahuas yapping the most. So it is what it is.
With the fire comment. let me give y'all some quick stats real quick. Okay. J-Ron Curse, 101 total tackles. Nice. 1 sack, 9 tackles for a loss, 10 passes defense, and 2 interceptions. There's nothing about you that scares me, even with those stats. That just means you can actually tackle. That what your stats tell me right now is you can actually tackle, and occasionally you get in the backfield. It's been a 17-game season, and you've only been in the backfield for TFLs 9 times. I'm sorry, that doesn't mean that you don't scare me. And your pass is defensed. I mean, with 10, it's a 17-game season once again, so it means you get one once in a while. So just with sheer numbers, I'm sorry, sir. I cannot respect you. And yes, you can put that hair. I got some good for that Harrisburg comment from Newbie. Oh, I got
talk about that. What Micah Parsons saying? Freaking bullies beat up bullies.
So he said, basically, I think they like to play bully ball. I'll tell you what, I'm from Harrisburg, where bullies beat up bullies. You guys want to break it down?
Let's just go ahead and.
I do want to say this one thing though. I will say this one thing. Javon Hurst what's his name?
J-Ron, I think it's J-Ron.
J-Ron Hurts. J-Ron, whatever his name is.
J-Ron.
I already forgot. That tells you one thing. The other thing I will say is it's easy to have 101 tackles when you play and 10 passes defense when you play in a division with Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke, and Jalen Hurts. Sorry, those quarterbacks, trash.
Yeah,
all of them. Let's not pretend like Dak Prescott wouldn't be scraping the bottom of the barrel with Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC West.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You know what I'm saying? And Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in that division. So I don't want to hear none of that. As far as Harrisburg, I love it. I really love it when people go, I'm from this town, so that means this. It don't mean shit on the field. It really doesn't. Listen, if you rush at Trent Williams, he's gonna knock you on your ass. Welcome to the NFL, Rook.
Yep.
You know, if you line up on the right side, they're just gonna run away from you. They can take you out of the game in so many ways. You're talking about a guy that loves to pass, rush the passer. He's really good. He's especially as a rookie. I'm gonna give him all the props in the world. But don't think that Kyle Shanahan hasn't looked at that defense and gone like, yeah, that's the guy we got to avoid. Yeah, that's the guy that we're going to game plan for. Everybody knows who Micah Parsons is. Everybody knows. Who else on that Dallas defense even scares you? Trayvon Diggs, if you make a mistake. But at the same time, Kyle's going to be like, hey, Brandon, hey, Debo, double move this motherfucker because he's going to bite. He knows. So Harrisburg, I don't even know what that means, man.
So I'll break that down for you.
Yeah, please do. I need that perspective because it's like that's like if I said like, "Hey, I'm from San Diego. You can't surf like me. Surfers surfers. Like, what does that even mean, man?"
I'll tell you this. So shout out to my buddy Mo's Nose. Shout out to Nitty Gritty Niners over there, man.
Shout out to Mo's. I love Mo's, man.
Let me tell you something. Mo's living in Pennsylvania. Mo's broke it down.
Wait, is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? I thought it was Virginia.
I think
Pennsylvania. He went to Penn State.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what if it's both? I think there's a Harrisburg in Virginia.
There may be. You know how we got double.
It's fine.
They got I'm from California. They got an Inglewood, Colorado. I was blown when I heard that because all I knew was Inglewood, California. But so Mo said it himself. He said Harrisburg was voted one of the best places to live. Like it's one of the nicest places around. So where is this bullies get bullied come from? So my thing is your comment just gets blown up by someone who lives in Pennsylvania and knows the area. And he was telling me, he was like, come to North Philly where it's really real. Come to certain parts of Pennsylvania where you really don't play that. Like for me, being from Los Angeles and I'm from LA, when I got my mail, it said Los Angeles. I'm not from the outskirts, I'm not from anywhere else. So when people would say, oh, I'm from LA, and they go, I'm like, oh, where are you from? Manhattan Beach. You're from LA County. You're not from LA. That's LA County. You're in Manhattan Beach. That's where that is. Oh, I'm from Newport Beach. You're from Newport Beach. So all the stuff that you say as far as like where you got brought up doesn't mean anything on the field because everybody walked their own walk of life in wherever they came from. And at the end of the day, all that stuff goes right out the door. And my whole point is Kittle's going to try to take your head off when he hits you. Kittle is literally going to take you.
And not only on routes, he's going to block the shit out of you.
Yeah, Kittle said that the joy that he gets from playing football is forcing a man to do something against his will. Anybody with that kind of mentality, if you're a linebacker, you don't want to go against somebody like that. You know why? You ever seen the clip when we played the Falcons where the man literally was crying, laughing on the field because he bullied someone? Yep. Jerron Curse, JJ Ron,
whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
You are going to get bullied on Sunday. And when you do, I swear I will happily point every time you get bullied. I'm looking for your number. I'm looking for your number.
Can I add this into? He should probably be the last one talking about bullies. And we're not going to go there in this podcast, but just Google Micah Parsons' Penn State bullying scandal.
Yeah, his history is not great. But I'll say this too about George Kittle. Listen, the man's own head coach is like, I avoid the shit out of George on the sideline. I don't want him coming up to hit me. He's an injury waiting to happen.
Exactly.
That man said that this year because he's 110% all the time. Like you all remember the preseason game against the Raiders? The first pass that he caught in the preseason, he goes head up with three dudes and just runs right into traffic. He don't even care. That's not the man that you want to call out because he's going to come and get you.
If you think that George Kittle is soft in any way, go back to 2019 and watch the Saints game. It took three people and the dude hugging on his face mask just to bring him down.
Yep.
Okay? There's nothing soft about George Kittle. Don't call him out.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, the man literally got up and said, tuck your chains.
Exactly. And that's why, dude, that's why his favorite wrestler is Penta. And he's like, Cero Miedo. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I ain't worried about nothing. I'm going out there and I'm gonna collect heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy to me. And by the way, the city that I was thinking in Virginia was Harrisonburg.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't even thinking about Harrisonburg because I know the city. I was actually thinking of Hampton, which is where Allen Iverson's from.
Okay.
Can I just say real quick, I would absolutely hate George Kittle if he didn't play for the 49ers. This man would annoy the hell out of me if he was not a 49er. But because
still not as much as Travis Kelce.
No, definitely not as much as Travis Kelce.
That dude's a tool. He's like
the
a
way
frat.
he takes so much pleasure.
That dude.
The way he takes so much pleasure in beating up on other teams and laughing about it, obviously in a professional kind of playful way, but still that would rub me the wrong way if this man was not on my team.
When he pancaked what's his face? I think it was against the Browns in 2019, and he looked up at the camera and smiled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's all about it. He's all about it, man. I was watching ESPN earlier, and the lovely Mina Kimes was talking about how the 49ers could take advantage of the Dallas Cowboys defense using motion, and that the Dallas defense allows 6.1 yards per carry to teams using, and the Niners use motion on 46% of their runs. Matt, how huge is this?
The 49ers use motion on like 80% of their plays.
Right.
They use motion for everything because that's one of the best ways to figure out, are they in man or are they in zone? Like, how are they matching up? This and that. And Kyle knows that. Like, he's gonna take a swing or whatever. But it's huge. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. A middling Dallas defense against the 49ers who average the most yards per play in the NFL. And we talk about Jimmy or whatever, but I mean, if he keeps the ball tight, they're 7-0 when he doesn't throw a pick. Yep. Like, if Jimmy keeps it tight, and for as much flack, I mean, I've given Jimmy a bunch of flack too, but I gotta say, with the thumb injury and down 17-0, which a lot of that was Jimmy Garoppolo doing Jimmy Garoppolo, but the fact that he let him back, like, the dude finds ways, man, in a lot of situations. Like, quarterback wins is not a thing, but we all saw what happened when Jimmy didn't play and we had CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins. They did not win. This dude has a way, and it's not even just like him, right? There was that video that came out today that talked about what a great leader Jimmy is. And it's like all this video of him like propping dudes up. And it's why the locker room likes him so much. And it's why he gets the leeway with the locker room that the fans don't give him. There's something intangible about Jimmy Garoppolo that allows him to be that leader, even though when you look at his play, you're like, I don't know why he would be that leader. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, when you're talking about a middling defense, you got a Jimmy G who knows that his time is up. Like, he was talking about his little interaction with Juice, and it's the last regular season game that they're playing together. Jimmy knows, what's the way that I could stay? I win a Super Bowl. And a Jimmy Garoppolo that's not – this is why I love Jimmy in 2 minutes. He's not overthinking. Yeah. Jimmy's like, I'm out of here, right? Yeah. Like, I'm out of here. Might as well enjoy it. And a Jimmy that's like, I'm out of here, might as well enjoy it. That's a dangerous Jimmy Garoppolo. And when you got the run game that's going to work because you're using motion against this Dallas defense, and that works to set up Jimmy Garoppolo to do the things that he can do, which is get guys, open in space and hit them over the middle of the field. I'm telling you, this is the one game. This is why Colin Cowherd went on his show and it's like, out of all the games, this is my upset special. This is the one most likely to happen. And this is why all of the experts are at least divided on this, because they know this is the last team that Dallas wanted to face in the playoffs. Just has to skip this.
So, speaking of Colin Cowherd, hey, look, you said the lovely Mina Kimes. I love me some Joy Taylor.
There you go.
Joy brings me joy.
Hey, Joy Taylor, beautiful lady, knows her shit too. I love every time Joy Taylor gives her opinion, I'm like, spot on. She knows what she's talking about.
She knows exactly what she's talking about.
But she's absolutely, I'm telling you.
And then
Joy Taylor over Mina Kimes any day.
For context,
that's fine.
MJ is beautiful too.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say too is I know NFL Game Day they all chose the Cowboys, but NFL Total Access all chose the Niners to win this game.
That's weird.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting right there.
That's what I've been saying though, is that it's either one way or another.
Who did that chump ass Adam Rank pick?
In the Niners. No. I think he picked the Cow. No, he picked the Niners. He was part of
Did he
Total
pick the
Access.
Niners?
Yeah.
Dang, I don't even want him on my side.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, even Shannon
I want the
Sharp.
I want the Good Morning Football people. By the way, speaking of top, say hey K.
Yep.
Say
Yes,
hey
sir.
K Adams.
K Adams.
Yeah.
Shout outs to K Adams. We
There
love
you
you.
go.
You know what you're talking about.
And
And she a Niner fan too, for real.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she always
You got
her and P. Schrags. I love Peter Schrager too.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all see?
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys know who Locksmith is?
Yep.
Did you see his rap?
Bro, I thought that was Raj.
Bro.
That was Raj from
His
RSF9.
bars were immaculate, and
Dude,
I
that
love
shit was
Locksmith.
fire.
He goes
That
so hard.
honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. That's better than what E40 put out with that bang bang.
Oh
Niner
yeah,
gang.
yeah. No, the only reason I'm gonna tell you right now, the only reason that song came out and the reason it's so popular is because it's 40. 40 wasn't trying to bar up on that, and he
I
knew
know,
it.
dude.
It
I'm
was
from the Bay
great.
Area. I know E40 like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
E40 is one of my guys.
40.
You know what I'm saying? Like those are my guys from back in the
But
day.
the bars. Oh, my.
Hey, don't let the tone fool you, my man.
Oh no, bro! I know
Hip hop is
you
my
found it.
shit.
That ain't never it,
Hip hop is
bro.
my shit.
I
But
don't.
would
I
just say
never
this.
let that fool me because a lot of people, you'd be surprised. Grant Cohn is a stupid hip hop head.
Oh, I love. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
he
talking
is,
Crazy
yeah.
hip hop head.
Hey
But
guys,
like-
we're gonna have a guest come in a few minutes,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I will say this though. This song is like, and 40 got the legacy. I understand that, but this song is much better.
Dude,
Oh no, his bars
Oh
are
my
just.
God.
If we were
it was
gonna
so
talk
amazing.
about, hey, this needs to be the song of like, maybe you replace Bang Bang Niner Gang with this jam right here, and it gets
Well,
put in the hype videos because it's legit.
Do you guys feel like the new song that they've been using lately, the Big Step in 49ers remix, is a lot better than Bang Bang Niner Gang? Because I think it is.
I like the stunner, man. I like that joint. The big step and like the bass out of it is dope. It's Skip. Yeah, I was about to say with that comment, man. Skip Bayless always think Skip Bayless is a typical delusional Dallas Cowboy fan.
Dude,
he wakes
he
up in
gets-
the morning and thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. He
I've
thinks
been-
Jerry Jones is his buddy. And the sad thing is, Stephen A. Smith is closer to Jerry Jones than he is, which don't make no sense.
Dude, he's a troll though. We know Skip is a troll. That dude gets paid like $8 million a year to be a troll. But I
Yeah.
will say this: his Jordan collection is sick as fuck.
Yeah. Hey,
He's got no business
what's-
owning those shoes.
He's got all the
what's
J's.
so I don't
Rip
usually
Bayless,
watch.
I can't lose in these, dude. Like, you lose every day, but those shoes are nice. I ain't gonna
Bro,
lie. I'm not gonna cap.
I don't usually watch Shannon and Skip, but dude, every time Shannon just throws out like, "Hey, the Niners are going to win. The Niners are going to win," and just tells us facts, Skip just looks like, you look at his face, he looks so like depressed, like, "Fuck, I don't know what else I'm going to say."
Skip
It's hard.
knows. Skip
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
He put it out on Twitter that he's worried about this game.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to
Typing
go
up
against
segments
an
is like, hey, are the
ex-football
49ers
player.
going to run all over Dallas? Like,
Mhm.
he wouldn't do that. What he puts out is like, why LeBron James is the worst NBA player of the last 75 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he puts out. That's his troll. Like, he knows. Anybody who's real knows. That's why Michael Irvin came out and was like, dude, this is not the game I
Not the
wanted.
matchup I wanted.
No.
Yeah, he was not happy.
This comment
Not
here,
happy.
Wano Matthews says Dominic Foxworth on Bomani Jones pod said the most real thing. 49ers are a bad matchup for everyone. When every other team zigged, the 49ers zagged.
I think they're a
real way to
bad
put it.
matchup for everybody except for Arizona and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, because Arizona is a divisional opponent and they know us.
Yep.
And then Tampa Bay has
and
the
Tom Brady's
stoutest run
pissed
defense.
off. Tom Brady's pissed off that we didn't take his ass in the offseason.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
still
gonna tell
can't
you,
convince me that you kept that motherfucker over me wasn't about Jimmy Garoppolo.
right now, at the
And,
end of the day,
We're gonna
Tom
add
Brady is a
fantastic.
stone cold killer. And when I
Yep.
say he's a killer, Tom Brady has MJ type killer in him.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
He wants to take your head off. He will look at Jimmy Garoppolo and laugh in his face and be like, if you
Yep.
think you're going to win this game, you have another thing coming, kid. I kept you behind me for years, and I'm going to keep you behind me.
There he is.
Jesse.
There's the man.
Hey, there we
Welcome.
go.
What's up, Jess?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, fellas. Thank you so much for having me on. Sorry I had to jump in a little bit late, but let's get this party started.
Let's
all
go.
Oh,
Get
good,
it.
man. So, Jesse, we were just talking about it. Obviously, the whole Niners Cowboys got into a little Mina Kimes, Joy Taylor talk, got into a bunch of talk. How do you feel about this matchup tomorrow?
Oh, I feel fantastic about it. I may call it overconfidence, call it whatever. 49ers are not losing this game. I'm an 8 out of 10 on confidence. I just don't see how the Dallas Cowboys can stop the run. As long as Jimmy G doesn't go turnover crazy, and if the 49ers are running the ball the way that I think they will, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Now, I would expect that there's going to be probably an interception by Jimmy. You know, we're talking about a quarterback that in 45 career games with the 49ers has 46 turnovers. You're talking about an opportunistic defense. So chances are expect a turnover, but when it happens, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. Dallas also can turn the ball over. They've done it in every game, all but 4 games this season. So it can go both ways, but ultimately the 49ers are going to bully them, beat them into submission, and win the game 31-24.
All right.
I like that score.
All right.
My point is, listen, you're talking about 2 quarterbacks that need everything to go right for them to be successful. They need their playmakers to make plays for them to do what they want to do. Dak needs Zeke to be running the ball so that he can run play action. He can run boots. Jimmy needs his playmakers around to mitigate what his risk factors are for turnovers. But you look at the Dallas defense, that's a middling defense. Yeah, Diggs is going to get 11 interceptions, but he's also going to give up 1,100 yards. 49ers, total yards, they're third-ranked defense in the NFL. And the 49ers average the most yards per play. I could not believe the 49ers average the most yards per play in the NFL. So to me, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks for sure. I agree with you on that. What do you think the 49ers and specifically Kyle need to do to limit what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do in terms of limiting his mistakes and maximizing his opportunities?
Repeat that again. Sorry, I didn't catch the end part of
For Jimmy Garoppolo, what can Kyle do to mitigate the risk of him turning the ball over and maximize his value versus a Dallas defense that will take risks but will also give up the big play as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, right? You have to run the ball. And here's why this is a bad matchup for the 49ers pass game. Dallas runs a lot of cover 1. And Jimmy Garoppolo is horrible against cover 1. You look at his game splits in cover 1 against cover 1 teams, it's not good. His completion percentage is way down. His turnovers are way up. And Dallas prefers to run cover 1. Now, they also run cover 3, and that's where Jimmy's at his best. His game splits are at their best in cover 3. So I expect a lot of cover 1. I expect cover 1 robber. But the other thing that probably a lot of people, a lot of Dallas fans at least, I know we are as 49er fans, but a lot of Dallas fans are not accounting for that pre-snap motion, those shifts, those motions, everything that San Francisco does. They're not going to just come out, line up, and show you what they're going to do. They're going to move things around a lot, and they're going to do it every snap, and they're going to make it easy on Jimmy G pre-snap to see what's going on. I also think that Dallas is pretty straightforward on defense. It's either cover 1 or cover 3. You just got to decipher with that pre-motion shift what it is. And it's pretty easy with man or zone to know the difference. So Dallas is going to do what they do. They're going to have to probably chip Parsons, I would imagine, with Kittle, maybe even leave Kittle in on some of those pass plays, especially if they get into a 3rd and long situation. But ultimately, I think there are quite a few things that Shanahan can do to make it easy on him, and I expect him to do all of them.
Yes, sir. I love it. I'm looking forward to just running down their throats like we've been talking about. We did touch on the pre-snap kind of motion. We brought up how Mina Kimes was talking about that, how Dallas has given up like 6.1 yards per carry, and the 49ers use motion on runs 46% of all their runs. So it's going to be big. And we were talking about J-Ron Curse's comments about George Kittle. I forget who said it as well, but it's like the same with Trayvon Diggs and Deebo Samuel. It kind of goes the other way. Oh, Trayvon's going to kind of blanket Deebo or Ayuk. Well, they're also going to have to tackle him and try and bring them down. And these are some physical receivers. Dion, I'm going to throw it back to you. Which of the 2 receivers do you think needs to have the bigger game for the 49ers to find success on Sunday?
Be honest with you, the person that needs to have a bigger game is going to be Deebo Samuel. And the main reason for that is because of the versatility that he brings. We all know that Deebo, it's just like I said earlier, he said if he was meeting himself and he asked what position he played, he would say wide back because he's a running back and a wide receiver. He's a hybrid, and it's extremely hard for someone to be able to do that and do it with consistency the way that he does week in and week out. But what the thing that Debo brings to the game is just his ferociousness when he runs. Like the dude runs to hurt you. And if you give him an inch, he's going to take 2 miles. Forget 1, he's going to take 2. And I think that's the focal point of it, man. If Debo has a huge game, it leaves the door open for the other receivers to shine as well. And I said this on my show, and I have given Juwan Jennings a nickname because no one has, and I feel that people should put some respect on his name because I've been back at Juwan Jennings since when we first drafted him. I never wanted Jalen Hurd because I knew he was an injury-prone machine, and it took him forever to get rid of him. But I called him Juwan Mother Bleeping Jennings. I won't curse on your show because I know it's that monetized and all that stuff.
Bro, I've done that like 6 times already. It's fine. I'm 5 F-bombs in, bro. Do it.
Hey, look, I call him Juwan motherfucking Jennings. And you got to put that motherfucking in there because that dude is that good. Jennings is what we wanted Jalen Hurd to be. Mm-hmm. And he does so well, man. And if you've ever watched somebody in a post-game interview, like the dude is he's just happy to play football. That reminds me literally of Kittle. Like he's like, I'm playing football, bro. Can you believe it? I'm really playing football. But
that's why I like that team mascot mentality they were talking about, how he took over from Kendrick Bourne as like team mascot.
Exactly.
I got excited about Juwan. When he came out of college, I was like, all right, he's, kind of got slow feet. Like, I'm kind of worried about that. Can he separate? I was convinced that if he was going to make this team, he was going to have to convert to like the second tight end position. And then he came in training camp and all the reports were like, Juwan looks quicker. Juwan looks like he's been working on, his breaks, his agility, all that stuff. And it's paid dividends. And so I agree with you on that. Like Juwan is that guy that we've been looking for, that little spark plug. It's easy for teams to focus on Debo and Brandon and George Kittle, but then look what happened last week against the Rams. Juwan Jennings
left that man
it's
open.
So many weapons. And when you got a physical team like the 49ers, everybody talking about Debo's going to run people over. Brandon's not afraid to take a pass over the middle. We all know what George is about. And then you got a big dude like Juwan Jennings. I mean, Dallas is kind of finesse. And we all know how the 49ers do against finesse teams. This is going to be, I agree with Jesse. I think we're all of the same opinion. The 49ers are going to kind of play bully ball. And I don't care if it's Harrisburg or Hampton or Harrisonburg, whatever I was thinking the city was. Whatever Micah Parsons saying, I don't think that's the case. I think that the 49ers are going to be the bullies this week,
I agree. Right now, the line, I believe, is still at 3 points. Mm-hmm. Jesse, how do you feel about that? Do you think the 49ers are going to be able to cover that?
Yeah, it's a pickup game, right? Anytime Vegas lays 3 for the home team, that they're basically telling you flip a coin. And yeah, I think they do. I think they win by a touchdown. One thing too, and I'm not sure how familiar your audience is with me, but I am like the least homerish fan around. I will tell you how it is. People got so mad at me and get so mad at me throughout the season when I picked the 49ers to lose and I'm fake fan this and whatever. So if I'm coming in and telling you I'm this confident, I mean it. Like, this is not me being a homer here. I genuinely believe styles make fights, and this is a horrible matchup for the Dallas Cowboys.
Agreed. And, we pride ourselves on keeping it real here. I picked the 49ers to lose quite a few times this year. I thought that the worst matchups for the 49ers going into the playoffs was Arizona because we always just match up funky with them and we have weird games, and Tampa Bay because a pissed off Tom Brady is not a Tom Brady that I want to see. Nope. And you're looking at a team with the Bucs defense that matches up well against the run. I agree with you. This is styles makes fights. This is the one matchup that I was looking at that I was salivating over, and I know you. Unfortunately, I know you from your Twitter interaction with Jack Hammer, who I also like, but we got to keep it real. This is really going to come down to whichever quarterback can play cleaner football. And you got to worry about that. You really do. The last 2 games that Jimmy Garoppolo has played, he has 4 interceptions against Tennessee and against the Rams. He was able to pull it out against the Rams. But we were talking earlier, if you get down 17-0 against this Cowboys team, you're in a lot of trouble. I think he needs to come out and play a clean game.
I agree with that. I I think the 49ers are going to strike first, and I think that's huge. Dallas is 9-0 when they score first in games. You certainly cannot go down 17-0. I don't think if Dallas wins that means that, I mean, if Dallas scores first, that ultimately means that they're going to win. We just saw McVay 45-0 after leading at halftime. He's now 45-1. So I'm not going to freak out if Dallas scores first. Maybe they get the ball first. We'll see how it plays out. But I think no matter what, that first drive, the 49ers are putting up some sort of points, 3 or 7. I'm not sure, but they are going to score that first drive. And Dallas has got to be ready to bring their lunch pail early.
What kills me is how in the hell did Sean McVay get to go and celebrate with his players in the end zone and there was no flag for that?
Dude,
Bro,
somebody
the
explain that.
ref even called him aside and was like, "Hey,
yeah, and the ref
He's all
was
smiling.
The ref was smiling. I was puzzled about that because I know our audience knows, but I was at the game live and I saw that and I was like, where is the flag? I don't understand. And it's hard to see when you're in person, right? You don't know exactly what's going on. Like both Jimmy interceptions, I'm MFing him, like get him out of here, like put Trey in, like I'm so mad, right? And then you go back and watch the game and you're like, oh, the first one he was like hit as he was throwing it, so that's just a wobbler up in the air. That happens to every single quarterback in the NFL. Maybe that's not so much on Jimmy or whatever. You get the nuance of the game, but I saw the Sean McVay thing even on the replay, and I was like, how did they not flag that? And why is the ref smiling with him like it's a cool thing to do?
They just gave it to him like it was nothing. I like this 4-9 bloodline. He said Dallas got a puffy chest from walking down easy street to the NFC East at Stat Patty, but now they're coming up Bust Your Ass Boulevard. I love that shit. That's perfect right there, man.
It's gonna be a sea of red there. I'm telling you guys.
Dude, like, I really think so.
They literally don't want anybody selling tickets to like they're literally scared that we're gonna take over the stadium because they know that we traveled that well. Yeah. We've done it. Look at what happened in LA. Matthew Stafford's wife, I retweeted it. His wife came on and was like, yo, this was like being in an opposing team's home because we couldn't hear at the end of the game. You had to go to a silent count. So that tells you.
Yeah, it was legit. 3 out of 4 fans were 49er fans. I saw so many people in 49ers jerseys. I was like, wait, what is going on here? Like, did the Rams just forget the game was on Sunday? They think it was yesterday and showed up? Like, I don't know, but it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. And that's the thing. Dallas has become one of those new age. And, my wife is in real estate and, we talk about this kind of stuff. You can see the transplant cities. We live in San Diego. San Diego is a big time transplant city. That's why the Chargers moved is we didn't have the strong fan base. The Padres have a good fan base because we got a great stadium and great food. And now we have a good team. But beyond that, you're looking at, everybody's from LA or somebody's from New York or whatever. Yeah. And the same thing is true in Dallas nowadays, where that's becoming a technological hub. That's where people are traveling to. And the 90s Dallas Cowboy fans are not going to those games anymore. You talk about the faithful and, they're still hardcore, super passionate about their team. They travel everywhere. I've seen we saw it. What was the meme in 2019? The dude in week 2,
we took over
up yours to the Cincinnati fans in Cincinnati. We know 49ers fans travel, so this is going to be a sea of red, and I expect the same type of issues for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. It's going to be 49ers fans.
It's going to be just like 2014, the last time we were over there.
It's crazy, man. It really is. I wanted to talk about this. Ian Sharp, and I'm kind of going to interpret this comment. I can't speak this comment a little differently. McVay was a run game. Jesse, I'm going to throw it to you. The Rams, for whatever reason, passed on that 3rd and 1 late in the game and ended up they got sacked, ended up having to punt the ball back where they could have ran it and likely picked it up. I know Stafford was injured, but if for some reason the Cowboys are up late, do you see them abandoning the run the way the Rams did just because it wasn't working?
Yeah, I really do. I just don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball with a lot of effectiveness. I thought I said it after week 1, and I get it was against Tampa Bay, and it had nothing to do with the stat line. It's what my eyes told me. Zeke looks shot to me. He looks a step and a half slower, and I know that they've got Pollard there who really can take off at a moment's notice. I understand all of that. But the 49ers, this is their first time since week 1 having all 3 linebackers. That front 7 is going to be all over the place. Dallas is more effective running to the outside. outside those tackles or near those tackles, I don't see a scenario where Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair, and Dre Greenlaw don't sniff that out more often than not. I don't think that they're going to trust the run. By the time halftime comes around, they're going to be throwing it all over the field and hoping they can win that way.
Do you think we see Dre Greenlaw settle in a little bit? Because I thought that he was super loose when he came back. Between the face mask, between the helmet to helmet hit, he looked like he was just kind of too amped up. Do we think that he's going to be a little more settled in? Because a lot of the fans, and I know recency bias is a weird thing, but do we think a lot of the fans, or do we think that Dre Greenlaw is going to settle in? Because a lot of fans are like, Azeez Al-Shaair is the jam, and maybe Dre Greenlaw is not the thing.
I think he will, honestly, because in that last game, he was really, really hype, and you could tell. I mean, he damn near suplexed a dude on the field. So he thought they got a suplex city. But I think what happens is you have to remember Azeez is coming off an injury. So what they'll rotate him. You may see all three on the field at the same time, but I think it's going to be a rotation between Dre and Azeez, just so Azeez doesn't overwork himself. If we're trying to stretch these people to get them and keep them going because we have the mindset of progressing forward in the playoffs, we're only going to play them so much. The only person that's probably going to play through a lot of injury is going to be Trent Williams, and that's because he's the left tackle and he doesn't really have a choice. I mean, you can't keep rotating Trent Williams and Colt McKivitz out there for different plays. It just doesn't work for the continuity of the line. But I think he will settle in.
I think with Trent Williams, he's going to, in my medical opinion, if you throw on the Gronk style elbow brace, he's going to be fine. He's going to go out there and knock people on their ass.
Yeah.
It's too important a game for him to miss.
100%. So speaking of the injuries, let's get to the injury report for the Niners. And I believe this is like the first week that nobody is out or doubtful. I could be wrong, just saying off the top of my head, but questionable. Azeez Al-Shaair, Marcel Harris, Talanoa Hufanga, and Mitch Wishnowsky are all questionable. Linebacker Keanu Neal is out for the Cowboys. And I believe everybody else was full participation in practice. So, Jesse, I'm going to throw it to you. How big would Azeez Al-Shaair's either return or absence be for the 49ers?
Yeah, I think I want to be careful here because Azeez, to me, is a really, really good football player. I think getting him back would be a huge spark. But on the flip side, if he's not there, I don't think it's the end of the world, right? So I think it can kind of play both ways. I mean, having him would be huge. I just talked about it. If they have all three of those guys, that front seven is going to be wreaking havoc all over that field. But if he doesn't play, I trust Greenlaw. I trust Warner. And you talked about Greenlaw flying all over the place. I think he was inspired by Azeez Al-Shaair. Azeez Al-Shaair and Hufanga, when they're on the field together, they are headhunting people on a regular basis. Greenlaw really kind of hasn't been that player, but that game he was, and first game back, he was overamped. I think he'll settle in. So hate to be wishy-washy, but I think it's a little bit of both.
No, I think that's a fair answer, though, because we saw that last week without him, Dre Greenlaw. I know we've talked about him kind of being a little too aggressive, but he was still out there making plays. And luckily that like suplex at the end of the game wasn't called. You got to chat here from Juano Matthews saying, Jesse, how big is Maurice Hurst's return?
Yeah, I think it's big. Anytime that you can add depth in the interior, and that is the weakness of the Dallas Cowboys. So if you can continue to rotate guys to get a pass rush up the middle and just jailbreak up the middle and force those guys into Dak's lap, I think that's always a good thing. So the 49ers are the healthiest they have been all season long right now when it's most important. And that is not something that we have been able to say about the 49ers. Even in 2019, when they made their run, they were so banged up. There were so many questions going into the playoffs. Who would play? Would they be effective? It just seems like everything is coming together. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And right now, the 49ers are both.
Hey, I'll say this really quick. The number one reason that the Giants beat the Patriots in both of those Super Bowls was the fact that they kept rotating their defensive linemen. When you can rotate in starters Literally. That's exactly what it was. Their backups were starters on any other squad. When you can rotate guys in like that and keep them fresh and keep them healthy, it becomes a nightmare for the defense. And we all know how you beat a good quarterback. Get him uncomfortable. And when you can, if we rotate in Omenahue and Armstead and Bosa and Arden Key and DJ Jones and just keep going, Contavious Street, Kevin Givens, all these guys, you keep rotating these dudes in and out, man. It's just going to be a nightmare for Dak, and he's going to spend a lot more time looking up at the ceiling of AT&T Stadium than actually making plays.
Yep, and it goes back to what I said earlier in the show about the Dallas fan that I had interaction with that was like, oh, well, Dak is super good against the blitz, and the 49ers love the blitz. And I'm like, they blitz the fourth least in the NFL.
Don't blitz that much.
And now you're adding depth to this defensive line. And for as much maligned as the 49ers secondary has been, listen, Ward and Tart are still solid. They're still super solid. You have Emmanuel Mosley, who's going to probably be better than he was last week, rounding into form, getting back into game shape. And you have Ambry Thomas, who, Dion, like you said, I mean, what a turnaround for the rookie. I mean, I loved him coming out of Michigan just because I'm a Michigan fan. I have been my whole life, and I saw him in 2019. I was like, if you run this dude in press man, he's going to be able to do some stuff, right? Like, zone is not his bag, but if you put him out there, he can get hands on a guy. And he's come up big in the last couple of weeks. So this is not Josh Norman, and it's not Diamador Lenore. And no disrespect to Diamador Lenore. He needs some work. It's not that secondary. You got Shark back in the nickel slot, area for the defense. This is a defense that can definitely get after Dak Prescott and make his life miserable. And this is something that favors the 49ers. You look at everything down the line. The only question in this scenario is which quarterback plays better. Run game favors the 49ers. Wide receivers, I think, favors the 49ers because outside of Amari Cooper and, CeeDee Lamb, yeah, I mean, Cedric Wilson's nice, but like Dion said, who's Swain? Who? Right? You got to worry about Kittle. You got running backs that can come out of the backfield for the 49ers. It looks like it's lining up for the 49ers, and they're getting healthy. Like Jesse said, it's better to be lucky than good. And the 49ers finally, after so many years, have some good health luck. So if that continues, I mean, why not the 49ers? This could be a deep run for them, fellas.
Yep, I really agree. So Hug Fast says Niners going to make it to the Super Bowl. The last winner of all of these matchups between the 49ers and Cowboys did win the Super Bowl. However, all of those matchups were in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
I do want to say this, though. If the 49ers beat Dallas and Tampa Bay holds court against Philadelphia, that means we're going to Green Bay. And I feel really good about that matchup with Green Bay, too. So this definitely could be, before we blink, the 49ers NFC Championship game, right off the bat.
We love going to Green Bay. You know why? Because we always punch Green Bay straight in the mouth, and Aaron Rodgers always winds up crying. If people and the crazy thing, my sister is a Green Bay fan and knows nothing about football. She's only a Green Bay fan by default because our stepmom is a Green Bay fan. So she just went ahead and jumped on the bandwagon. My ex is a Green Bay fan. So I love the fact that they're all there because I get to laugh at them when we murder them. When we destroyed them, when Kaepernick galloped down the field looking like a his strides were massive and long, I laughed in their face. When we came back and ran all over them with Raheem Mostert, I laughed in their face. And if we get Elijah Mitchell to run all over them and we can throw the ball and beat them, I'm going to laugh in their face again. So, yes, if we line up against Green Bay, this bodes well for the Niners because we just seem to beat them consistently, and they just can't stop us. Jay, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Jay. Am I being a little overconfident here? Or?
Dang,
Not at
Dion,
all.
tell them how you really feel, brother.
Not at all. Listen, when I look at Green Bay, it's funny because preseason I picked the 49ers to start 3-0, and I said that the Green Bay game would be the easiest of the first three. Now, at that time, I thought Mostert would be healthy. Jeff Wilson would be healthy. There was a lot that went into that. But Green Bay, to me, still has not proven that they can't be bullied up and down that field. And we have to remember that the 49ers lost by 2 in the closing seconds without a run game. No run game whatsoever. Sermon was slated to play that game. They trusted Sermon so little that Juszczyk took the opening run. Sermon only ran the ball, I believe, 10 times in that game for 30-something yards. That is not the San Francisco 49ers. They couldn't score in the first half until Trey got him on that 4th down to close it out, and they still almost beat them. Now you're telling me with Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Mitchell, and all these other people healthy, Ambry Thomas coming on, Mosley hitting his stride, that they aren't going to go into Green Bay and bully that team? I don't believe it.
Yeah, them having Bakhtiari back doesn't mean anything to me. They had Bakhtiari when we played him. He didn't. It's not going to stop anything for me. I'm sorry. When I see Green Bay on our list when it comes to the playoffs, I laugh and I chuckle and it tickles me pink. And I get giddy with happiness and excitement. I have no reason to feel worried about the Green Bay Packers. The only thing I will say is I stand by. I think it was Matt that said, I want no parts of Tom Brady. I don't. Yeah. And the main reason,
NFC Championship game right there.
And the main reason is because of what he said on the shop. He was not playing, and you know who he was talking about. Brady is one of those people. I like him because over the years I've gotten to know who he is. There we go, Christian in the building.
Christian, welcome.
What's up, my guy? Just got done watching Scream.
Did you scream?
No.
Pun intended.
All right,
from Christian, man. Christian always with the hot takes, bro. He's a savage.
Yeah, Christian tells how it is.
He is a savage.
So this comment here from Jamal says, definitely think we could beat Green Bay. I've been peeping at Green Bay's defense is tougher than they were in 2019. Devondre Campbell was a big signing for them, getting healthier now too. I agree. I don't think it's going to be nowhere near that NFC Championship game where Raheem Mostert ran like wild. But I still think the 49ers have a good shot at taking them out, especially in Lambeau.
I agree, but I agree with Jesse, though. Like, it's different when you got, you expect Raheem Mostert to be in and you play Trey Sermon because, Trey Sermon has a third round pedigree. But we know Elijah Mitchell is the more explosive back. We know Elijah Mitchell is the better back. We've seen that throughout the season. And I've said it since Elijah Mitchell kind of emerged. Elijah Mitchell kind of makes Raheem Mostert, and I know, I got a problem with Raheem Mostert because he held the team up for money. That's my issue, but he kind of makes Raheem Mostert a little bit expendable. You can look at it as in not like Elijah Mitchell has been a bastion of health this year, but I mean, if you're talking about 2 running backs that are going to be, maybe a little injured and you got to back them up, I'm going to take the cheaper guy, which is going to be Elijah Mitchell. And so you look at it, it's a completely different complexion, This team's also, don't forget, Brandon Ayuk was in Shanahan's doghouse in week 3. Big time. So you're looking at George Kittle. George Kittle also had an ankle injury that he eventually went on injured reserve for, that he was fighting through. He suffered it in week 1 and tried to play through until week 5 when Trey Lance got the start against Arizona and went on injured reserve ultimately because of it. So you're looking again, as Jesse said, better to be lucky than good. If the 49ers go into that game healthy with Elijah Mitchell as the running back and with George Kittle at 100%, now you're looking at maybe a different type of outcome, because for as good as Green Bay has been, and yes, they're the number 1 seed, I don't know. They played a lot of teams really, really close. A 13-7 close loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. A squeaker of a 25-22 overtime win against Cincinnati. This is a team that doesn't exactly blow people out. And last week I don't really count that. It's Detroit in the last week of the season. Doesn't really matter, right? Aaron Rodgers played like maybe a quarter and a half or whatever it was. But again, it's still a finesse team. You cannot convince me that Green Bay is a physical team. And the 49ers feast on finesse teams. Plain and simple.
And also, too, is the 49ers are also, 6-2 on the road?
You guys are forgetting the most important part about playing Green Bay in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is our bitch.
I knew it was coming.
There it is.
Dude, hey, what are we, 3-0 against them in the playoffs?
I think we
It's
are.
Yep.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad. By the way, I found out today that Colin Kaepernick has a better touchdown to interception ratio than Jimmy G, and I was like, whoa,
I think I believe
kind
that.
of crazy.
To Fernando, when you said that it's hard to win in Lambeau, we don't have that problem. That's all I'm gonna say. We don't have that issue. It's not a problem. I mean, even
No.
it's just I'm just gonna keep it there. It's just not a problem. We don't.
The 49ers
I mean,
are
even if you
far
think-
better to win in Lambeau than Green Bay is.
Yeah.
Even if you think that Green Bay is the more talented team, time and time again, the NFL has shown you Lambeau in January is going to be cold. The weather is going to be a factor. We're looking at weather in Buffalo for New England, Buffalo. We're looking at weather in Tampa Bay and Philly this week. You know,
They're picking New
when the
England.
weather is bad, the talent gap shrinks. And so even if you think that Green Bay is the better team, Green Bay is still finesse. So in a cold weather game where you need grit, where you need heart, where Aaron Rodgers is not going to be able to do what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, that favors the 49ers, a team that even down 17-0 against the Rams still ran the ball. They didn't give a shit. They were like, Kyle is like, this is who I am. This is what I like to do. 17-0, no sweat off my back. We're still going to do the same things we're going to do. We're going to run 10 straight times. And then you know what? Maybe I'll have my wide receiver throw a touchdown at the end of it just for shits and giggles. So the bad weather narrows the talent gap. So Green Bay doesn't have as much as a home field advantage as people think that they do.
All right.
Can we stick on this comment real quick? I just want to say
which
this.
one?
That one right there. Wano.
Okay.
Matthews. He's exactly right. I've been saying this since Monday or Tuesday when I first started doing shows this week. That is so right. You look at all these teams right now, they are predicated in stopping the pass and passing the ball. All of them except for Tampa. Tampa's built to stop the run and pass the ball. They're the one kind of weird anomaly. But the 49ers are built to go in and just bully people. And I don't think that teams can prepare for that. They can talk about they're prepared. They can talk about they're ready for the fight. But until it's brought to them, I don't think they're ready for it. And Debo, imagine preparing for Debo Samuel on 1 week's notice. It is impossible. So good luck to any team that faces San Francisco.
Michael Irvin said right after we beat the Rams, he didn't want the Cowboys to pull the Niners right away.
Yeah.
You should.
I agree with that. And actually, that's a good point. You know, during the regular season, you're like, all right, we know we have the Niners week 13. We can watch, you know, there might not be the head coach watching that, but you know the assistants are watching that. You know that some of the scouts are watching that. You know that there are people that prepare for that type of thing. But now we're talking about the playoffs. You know, it's a difference of 49ers beat Dallas, right? Okay, so they're going to play Green Bay, right? Not necessarily. If Philadelphia somehow pulls out a bad weather game against the Buccaneers, now all of a sudden it's Philadelphia going to Green Bay, and all of a sudden the 49ers go to the 4 seed, or the 4 or 5 seed, which would be the winner out of Arizona and Los Angeles. Completely changed the complexion. That's one of the things about the NFL is playoff seeding gets reset. The lowest seed plays the highest seed. That's just the way that it is. That's how they determine home field. And so you definitely do have a harder time preparing for teams. It's why I don't like the divisional games necessarily for the 49ers. 3 NFC West teams is kind of a tough draw. But if the 49ers can go Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, I think that's a pretty decent draw until you get to Tom Brady. You want to be able to take people by surprise. If not 100% by surprise, it's a difference between, okay, we know the 49ers are physical, right? But until that first play, that first down, when Trent Williams goes against whoever the defensive end is, he's like, oh, shit. Okay, they said physical. I didn't know it was going to be like this. It's the difference between knowing what physical is and feeling what physical is. And that's the difference between regular season where you get to watch a ton of tape on a team and the playoffs where it's like, I don't know who we're playing until the game is over, particularly for the 49ers who play on Sunday, which is to their advantage.
So let me ask you guys, is there any chance Philly pulls off the upset? Jesse, we can start with you.
I do think there's a chance. I'm not going to pick Philly, but I don't know why this game sticks in my mind. And it hit me yesterday morning, the morning before, but I was thinking of this game, and immediately the game that popped in my mind, I think it was the 2002 playoffs when the Falcons with Michael Vick, traveled to Lambeau Field against Brett Favre. At that point, Green Bay did not lose at Lambeau in the playoffs. The Falcons didn't have the best defense. Everybody was picking the Green Bay Packers to win. And Michael Vick and the Falcons left there, shocking everybody to win that game. I have that same thought and feeling about the Eagles versus the Bucks. I'm not bold enough to pick them, but I just think this game is going to be closer than what people think.
I
Makes me
agree.
think of that Giants Packers snow game in Lambeau, where the Giants won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, I would take Philadelphia in a bet, like just because they're getting 8.5, and I think that's something that you can. I definitely think it's going to be closer than 9-point Bucks win. That's something that I'm feeling. Listen, you're looking at a Bucks team that's, again, we talk about the 49ers getting healthy at the right time, but now no AB, no Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette's kind of banged up. Like, you're looking at a Bucks offense that in the last few weeks has kind of struggled. I mean, Tom Brady has not looked the best in the last few weeks because he doesn't have the weapons that he's accustomed to having.
He went from 5 to 2 weapons, 5 weapons to 2.
Exactly. On top of the fact that the Bucks offensive line hasn't been the greatest anyway. And now you're looking at a bad weather game. And Philadelphia, believe it or not, thanks Colin Cowherd for this, Philadelphia led the NFL in big time in big plays, rushes over 10 yards, passes 20 yards and over. It's a boom or bust, kind of offense. But like I said, bad weather narrows the talent gap. And when you got a hurt, Tampa Bay team versus, I know, Zach, you posted the Philadelphia injury report, but like one guy, and that was, I think it was Sweat, who wasn't practicing because he was like sick, not necessarily because he was injured. So Philadelphia is coming in with guys that are either, maybe a little banged up, but most of their guys are going to play. It could definitely be a long day for Tampa Bay. It's one of the games. It's New England, Buffalo, and Philadelphia and Tampa Bay are the two games that I was like, these are going to be some grinding games that you're really going to have to pay attention to. These are the games where when you look at wildcard teams, the road teams are 10-14 in the last 3 years. This is why. These are the games that kind of prove that point, along with 49ers at Dallas because of the matchup.
Oh, and to top it all off, he lost another weapon. That decided to get damn near naked on the field and run off and clap his way out of the stadium like an idiot. I don't care what nobody say. If you need entertainment, Antonio Brown is your guy. Oh, and by the way, he thinks he's a rapper now. Just so
man. They also lost Richard Sherman. I saw he's out with I think an Achilles injury, if I saw correctly.
Who's that?
He only played like a game for them.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think he had like one pick, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's great." And the next thing you know, he got injured again. It was a wrap.
Who's that? Hey, you might as well call him Kenmore or Maytag because he's washed.
Dude, it's crazy because he could still play football, but he's just can't get his shit together.
Hey, look, man, this is the point when your body tells you it's time to go. Like Kobe said it best, I don't want to be dragged off the court past my time.
And Kobe was an elite level athlete. Richard Sherman was a middling athlete to begin with. And now you're talking about he's getting older. Right? We saw Darrell Revis fall off a cliff one year. Like one year he was like, he's all pro. Next year he sucks.
This is so true. The Rams probably will sign him.
Yeah, Ian Sharp says the Rams will sign him. They signed Eric Weddle.
I can't believe that. Eric Weddle hasn't played.
He's still a Hall of Fame safety, though. Eric Weddle's still a Hall of Famer.
Bro, Eric Weddle gonna get he gonna get the break.
He's a Hall of Fame couch sitter at this point.
He's gonna get his Hall of Fame taken away from him.
He's been enjoying retirement too, so I'm surprised. Like,
hey, look, man, when the money come calling, you go ahead and go get it. Okay, there ain't no questions about that. Okay,
I mean, if the Rams called me with that money, I would go play, but that doesn't mean
I'm walking right out there on the field. They're gonna look, Deion, how you gonna do? Look, I want to make sure I got an injury clause because if I pull a hamstring on the first,
Eric Weddle has not played since before we all were wearing face masks out in public. So that I mean, and for as good as Eric Weddle was, he started declining at the end physically, and we talk about Richard Sherman declining, but you're talking about a 37-year-old safety who hasn't played in 2 years, who honestly, what kind of shape is he going to be in? Like it to me, this smacks of desperation. I mean, how many other safeties who have played prior to Eric Weddle retiring, right? That are out there, and you're like, maybe Eric Weddle, right? That tells me, and this is why, I would not touch Arizona, LA with a 10-foot pole in terms of betting the game. I have no idea what's going to happen because I think Cliff Kingsbury is a trash coach. He was trash in college. His team tailed off again this year, 2-4 in their last 6. Kyler Murray's a little banged up. No DeAndre Hopkins. But then I'm looking at the other side and I'm like, dang, Matthew Stafford looks like Detroit Matthew Stafford the last 4 weeks. You got McVay who's running out there with his players but can't adjust to a second half where the 49ers come storming back. And because Jordan Fuller went out, you're like, who am I going to get? Oh, you know what? Eric Weddle, that's a name. Wait, when's the last time you played? That's fine. Don't worry
with
about
the
it.
Rams. With the Rams, it's funny though because it's like, oh, Cooper Kupp, he's the MVP, he's all this great. I'm like, the real MVP of that team is Robert Woods because as soon as he went down, Stafford looked like shit. Their whole team looked like shit since they lost Robert Woods.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. And people, they knocked me when I said it. Matthew Stafford is a loser. He comes from losing. What you don't understand is the man is 0-3 in the playoffs. He doesn't shine bright when the lights are on him. This is what I keep trying to tell people, and people keep knocking me for it. I understand he's got a big arm. I understand he's got a big arm. I understand he can throw touchdowns. He can do this. He can do that. When it comes to the point where it matters most, he folds, and that's why I say that. I'm not saying that his 4,000 and 5,000 yard seasons and all that stuff don't matter. But what I'm telling you is at any point in his career, when he's actually made it where he needs to really push and try to take his team over the top, I don't care about whether he had a good offense or a good defense or any of that crap. You got to play with what you got. He does not show up. And these are facts, people. I'm not sitting up here telling you this.
You tied with Trevor Lawrence, right? He was tied with Trevor Lawrence for the league leading interceptions, right? Like that's as much as we hammer on Jimmy for like throwing picks. Sneakily, Matt Stafford came up and was like, "Oh, Jimmy G throws picks. Hold my beer."
Stafford
is kind of throws for more touchdowns than yards for sure.
It's because he's a gunslinger.
Man, I can't remember which game it was. He threw an interception where I was like,
He's
what?
He's a poor man's gunslinger.
Oh, like it was horrendous. Like high school level. Yeah. High school quarterbacks don't throw that pass.
Well, when he threw that pick to Mosley, I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
he threw that one out there. I'm going to get to this comment and then we can start to wrap things up because we're going on a little long. We have a big advantage in coaching over Dallas. Mike McCarthy playing Madden, trying to figure out what we're going to do on Sunday. Jesse, I'm going to throw it to you. Out of Kyle Shanahan, I know everybody's making Kyle Shanahan versus Dan Quinn, but let's go head coach versus head coach real quick. Who do you think has the advantage out of these two head coaches? Just schematically.
Oh, it's Shanahan, and it's not even close. McCarthy is old school as old school can be. He's very vanilla. I think he's a good head coach, but it's so different. It's so different. And Shanahan I have a lot of things that I disagree with Shanahan, but schematically and in-game coaching adjustments and play calling, the guy, second to none. It's incredible.
Yeah, 100%. Dion, how about you? Who do you think has the advantage here?
49ers, all the way. We're better on the only phase of the ball that we have an issue with is special teams. Other than that, we're better in every way.
Yeah. Matt, how about you?
It's got to be the 49ers. And I don't think the real matchup is McCarthy, who I think is just going to delegate a bunch of shit. To be honest, Kellen Moore is going to call the offensive plays. Dan Quinn is going to call the defensive plays. I think the real matchup is Kyle Shanahan versus Dan. Kyle Shanahan's going to know exactly what Dan Quinn wants to do. No, Jesse talked about cover 1 versus cover 3. I think that Kyle's going to be prepared for some of those contingencies. The fact that he worked with Dan Quinn for so many years, that he's going to know, hey, Dan likes to run this. And we all talk about it, right? Like you can change some peripheral stuff. You can change some of the accoutrement, so to speak. But it's how you change stripes. Kyle likes to run. Dan Quinn's going to like to run what Dan Quinn likes to run. And you have to take it from, do you trust Kyle Shanahan to beat Dan Quinn, or do you trust Dan Quinn to beat Kyle Shanahan? And for me, I trust Kyle Shanahan over Dan Quinn in this situation.
Yeah, really well said. Christian, how about you?
I mean,
Finish it up.
I feel like here's the easiest way to put it when it comes to who has the edge with the coaching. You take Dak Prescott, right? You put him in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's the MVP of the league. If you give Dak Prescott Kyle Shanahan's run game and motion and his play action, Dak Prescott throws for freaking 6,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Like, I know I'm exaggerating, but he's the most efficient quarterback in the NFL on play action.
Right, and then give Jimmy G to Dallas and see what happens.
Yeah,
I'd be so happy. Dude, that would make me nothing more than happy. To watch him flounder in Dallas.
How many rings did McCarthy win with Aaron Rodgers? Just one, right? Or did he win two?
One.
That's embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's unacceptable. You have one of the best quarterbacks of all time, probably the most physically gifted quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, but Zach, he's an analytics guy. He's an analytics guy now.
Oh yeah,
he loves the analytics.
Sure thing.
Rodgers chokes in the playoffs, dude. He that's what he does.
Only when he's playing
in the playoffs.
Some of those Green Bay defenses were shit too. Like,
that's fair.
Green Bay defenses sucked real bad.
Let's touch on this comment from Jamal. Sorry if I missed this. I know, Dion, I think you talked about Jennings. Juwan, motherfucking Jennings. Can you guys name an X factor on the 49ers for this 49ers Dallas? Throw it back to Christian.
X factor? Offense and defense, or just one?
One overall.
I mean, maybe do we do this with our offensive defensive player of the week? Because I'd like to get Justin opinion on that too. Let's hit the super chat with Robert Davis. We'll do offensive defensive MVP and give our scores for the game, and then we'll call it a night.
So Robert Davis said Jimmy Ward in the interview with Grant Cohn called Stafford what he is, soft as a marshmallow. Great collab, guys. Niner Podcast dream team.
It's true. You can take the quarterback out of Detroit, but you ain't taking Detroit out of Matt Stafford. That is what it is.
Shout out to Grant for getting
that. That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't win a playoff game with a first ballot Hall of Famer. So,
yeah. Shout out to Grant though. Happy birthday. I saw it was his birthday, I believe, yesterday. Happy birthday, Grant.
Yeah, happy birthday.
He gets a lot of hate unfairly.
Hey, he asked the questions that we want asked.
He does ask questions, and I will tell you this: for as much as his online persona is like stirring shit up, dude, Grant Cohn is a cool dude. When like you talk to him in person and shit, Grant is a cool ass dude.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Fernando says, Jimmy G outplayed Matthew Stafford. My favorite was moving out of the pocket throw to Debo and TD Jennings. We finally saw him step up in the pocket. I was like crying tears of joy when he hit Debo on that play because we never see that from him. He just kind of pat, and then he gets sacked.
Yep.
And instead he stepped up. I was so excited to see it. All right, let's get into these offensive and defensive MVP predictions. Matt, let's start with you. Who do you got?
Dude, it's going to be George Kittle. Listen, that little curse, whatever his name is, he talks some shit. George Kittle, I'm telling you, he's going to pull that little newspaper clipping out. He's going to put it in his locker, and he's going to look at Dallas, and he's going to be like, all right, fellas, y'all think that you can cover me? Listen, I'm George motherfucking Kittle. You know, settle
miedo. Get me excited, bro.
Settle miedo, bro. George Kittle is going to be open often, every down, whatever George Kittle wants to do. I cannot believe that this dude decided to talk shit to George Kittle like, I'm going to shut you down. Buda Baker knew better, right? Byard knew better. Yep. You don't talk to George Kittle like that. George Kittle is going to go off on this game. George Kittle, 7 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Dion, I'm going to throw it to you. Offensive MVP.
Offensive MVP for me, honestly, as long as this young man is healthy, I'm going to go with Elijah Mitchell.
There you go.
This run game get rolling. Let me tell you something, Dallas. Micah Parsons, you better strap on your big boy boots. Put on your big boy pants because he's going to make you shit your pants. He coming to hit you. We get this run game going in the right way, you'll never see anything because you'll see him and you're going to see Debo probably come out of that backfield a few times where he sets that edge. But I have to go with Elijah Mitchell, man. I think that kid's going to have a fantastic game against this weak run defense.
That's awesome. Jesse, what do you got for offensive MVP?
I agree that Kittle's going to have a big game out of all the pass catchers. I think he's the guy. But I'm going to agree with Dion that the MVP is going to be Elijah Mitchell. I think they're going to have to run the ball to win this game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball and win this game. And he's going to get a majority of those carries. But to answer Jamal's question about the X Factor, Jamal, you know this. I said this on Tuesday when you were on my show. The X Factor for me going into these playoffs is Ambry Thomas. If Ambry Thomas continues to play well, I don't know where the weakness is at in this whole defense. Mosley's a stud. Ward, Tart, that front seven we already know is savage. The only question mark is Ambry Thomas. And Ambry has been playing really well. Even when people were dogging him, I saw it on film. This kid was playing good football. So if he can continue to do that, the 49ers are going to be a tough out.
I love it. I love it. Christian,
Agreed.
offensive MVP.
Wait, real quick,
I
agree
got it.
with
Okay,
go ahead.
All right.
With the thing, I want to because again, I've been such an Ambry Thomas lover out of all this. I love the Ambry Thomas pick. Even in the game against Tennessee, where people were saying he got cooked by AJ. Listen, his positioning was great. He had great position. It's just sometimes you got a superstar receiver. It's a superstar receiver against a rookie. Sometimes
You
things
win
happen.
some, you lose some.
Exactly. But when we talk about Ambry Thomas from training camp, who couldn't, beat out Diamado Lenore to get a spot, to Ambry Thomas now, who's like, Josh Norman, who are you, bro? Like, let me get in here. What a turnaround. And we forget, because of the pandemic, that Ambry Thomas did not play in 2020. It's taken him time to get back up to speed, and he's done a phenomenal job. So I absolutely agree. That is definitely an X factor. If he plays the way that he's supposed to play, I mean, K1 in the slot, Emmanuel Mosley all of a sudden we go into the season like, dang, man, the 49ers secondary, I don't know about this, man. Especially when Jason Verrett goes down. And now you're just like, 49ers secondary, not that bad. Not that bad. Not as bad as Dallas fans are trying to make it out to be. So I definitely agree with that. Go ahead, Christian.
So I was going to say freaking Ayuk's going to be our offensive guy because I think he's going to be – I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one Stephon Diggs is covering a lot. And Stephon Diggs is going to find out. Trayvon Diggs.
I know they're brothers. It's hard.
I would love if Stephon
brothers,
Diggs was covering anyone in this
Trayvon
game.
Diggs. Okay. So my thing is because he, gives up a lot of yards because he bites on a lot of routes and stuff and he bites on a lot of pump fakes, whatever, because of the fact that's how he has a lot of interceptions because he bites on a lot. If you're going to try to bite a lot on Brandon Ayuk and the way he runs his routes, if Jimmy can just get the ball in the vicinity, there's going to be a lot of big gains. Like if I'm Jimmy, that's where I'm looking first a lot. Is as bad as this Cowboys secondary is, I'd be looking at my best route runner first. Obviously Debo's, the best in the open field, but when it comes to route running, it's Ayuk. I think he's one of the best in the NFL. So
I agree with that too. I think Ayuk is a little bit better route runner than Debo is, and I think that if Kyle was looking to pick on Diggs a little bit on those double moves, I definitely think that I would look for it when Diggs is lined up against Brandon Ayuk, because I do think that as far as route running goes, I do think that Ayuk is a little bit crisper than Debo is.
Yeah. And I was hoping all season get to see some double moves and see Ayuk go deep over the middle or whatever. So I thought that's what we drafted him for anyway. This would be the chance we get to see it against this secondary if they're going to do it.
Offensive MVP for me, I agree with Robert Davis here. Debo Samuel, receiving, rushing. I don't think we're going to see any throwing from him, but
we snatch Chase. I love it.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna say about 85 yards receiving, another 45 on the ground, 2 total touchdowns. I think the man, they don't like Jesse said, how do you game plan for him in a week? You just can't. And I've seen other writers, I apologize for not writing your name down, but talk about they haven't seen anybody like Debo Samuel all year. How many players in the NFL are truly like Debo Samuel? Very few, if any. So I'm going to say that. And I want to say this real quick. Can they get Trent Williams a touchdown? Can they get the man a receiving touchdown? They tried
tackle eligible, baby.
Let me tell you, how you get Trent Williams a touchdown? You do him like the Bears did the Fridge, put his ass in the running back.
Dive.
Yeah.
Who gonna tackle? I don't want no.
Sorry, not fullback dive, silverback dive, because that motherfucker.
I don't want no
like a
part
person
of that.
was talking about, we're not going to get bullied. Let him try to tackle fucking
Yeah.
the Silverback with the football, dude.
Go plug that hole.
Yep.
All right, defensive MVP, Matt. I already know your
Yep.
answer.
You
but
already
let's-
know. You already know.
let's hear
It's
it.
been this way the entire season. It's been he's gonna make me a believer. It's gonna happen at some point. Nick Bosa, 3 fucking sacks and a fucking forced fumble. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Dion, who do you got?
Man, I don't know how to follow that up. But you know what? I'm gonna go outside the box. I always continually eat crow, and I say it because it's true. I ragged on Ambry Thomas when he got beat up in those first couple of games, but I will go with Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is going to possibly take one of these receivers away from the game. Somebody's going down, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if Ambry's on you, good luck.
Cooper's soft, and if Ambry puts his hands on him, it's gonna soften him up the rest of the game.
I thought that was CeeDee Lamb who was soft like that. So we got 2 soft receivers. I heard CeeDee Lamb was soft. He don't like physicality.
Cooper's gonna
Dallas is
leave with
soft
an
like
ankle
blue
injury
bonnet
in the
ice
first
cream,
quarter.
baby.
Jay, is that true? Because I know you tapped in, Jay. I thought it was CeeDee Lamb who don't like the.
Well, I mean, Cooper's shown many times how soft he is. I didn't even know Lamb was soft.
Yeah, I thought he doesn't like physicality. At least what
Who
I
gets
thought. I
injured?
thought I heard that
Either
on
way-
the network.
They're all soft.
All right, Jesse, defensive MVP. Who do you got?
So I'm going to go with a guy that I, in the preseason, picked to be the defensive player of the year. I just thought in this defense with D'Amico Ryans calling the shots that this man would have a huge season. I figured the 49ers would run a lot of cover 1. It would free him up to do his thing. Unfortunately, injuries happened very early and they had to bail on that plan. But now everybody is relatively healthy, like we've been talking about. I'm going to peg this man for 15 tackles and a forced turnover, whether it's a fumble or an interception. Fred Warner.
There you go. I love
There
it.
we go.
I love it. Christian.
I'm gonna go with one of the fucking boys in the inside, and I'm gonna pick Armstead because
Okay.
the last 2 or 3 games he has been a fucking force, dude. He has been an absolute force the last couple games, and whether it's just rushing the quarterback or hurrying the quarterback or actually going in and getting the sack, with him and Arden Key together, man, they've been freaking monsters. And if he has a big game like he has the last couple of weeks, we're gonna win this game.
I love it, man. He really has turned it on. For me, I'm going to go with Al-Shaair. I'm going to stay in the middle of that defense. I think that his return is going to be big. The 49ers, that's a hell of a linebacker trio with Al-Shaair, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. And I think Al-Shaair is kind of just that extra piece that the 49ers hadn't really had up until this season because they've had him, yeah, but he really came into his own this season with the opportunity with Dre Greenlaw going out. And he's made a lot of that opportunity. So I'm going to go with Al-Shaair. And I think he gets a pick. I think he gets a pick in this game. We're going to be wrapping things up here shortly, guys. We're going to do our final score prediction and wrap things up. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're here. And we got to say thank you to our sponsors. So we're going to shout out MyBookie. Right now, you can head over to MyBookie.AG. Sign up with promo code Hive, as in 49ers Hive. You'll get your first deposit instantly matched all the way up to $1,000. And you'll also get a $20 MyBookie token to bet in the MyBookie casino. There's a lot of props this weekend, guys. I'm not able to see the props for the Niners and Cowboys just yet, but they got the Saturday games up there already. So you can bet on the Raiders and Bengals. You can bet on the Bills and Patriots. Man, there's going to be a lot. But go and check out for our Twitter. Sunday, a couple hours before kickoff, we will bring you our props to the game. And we will also bring our props for the game tomorrow on our Twitter. So go and follow us at 49ers Hive. Shout out to MyBookie. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. All right, guys, let's wrap things up here. As you can tell, my voice is losing it. Your boy's probably Cove positive over here. Matt, final score.
No.
49ers are going to grind this one out. They're going to bully the Cowboys around. I think the 49ers win 31-23.
All right. Dion, what you got?
I think I'm going to have to go probably – I always say I feel like this is going to be like a really close game. So I'm going to say about 28-24 49ers.
All right, Jesse.
We are close on our score. I've got it 31-24 49ers.
Yes.
It's going to be tough, man. It really is going to be a close game. I think the over-under is like 51, if I saw correctly. Man, 50 and a half. That's what PFF has it at least. I'm going to go with 49ers 27, Cowboys 24. And I think it might come down to a Robbie Gould field goal at the end. But it's going to be close, and I think a lot of fans would probably like just in classic 49ers fashion, making us stress like crazy. Christian, what do you got?
Every time I do, try to pick a score, it's always tough for me because I never know the way, because it depends on what kind of Jimmy G we get. Because this offense can put up 40 points. This offense can put up freaking only 17 points. So it's always hard to pick, and I never know because I'm going to say we're going to win 27-21, but I have a slight feeling that this is that game where we're like, and then we go out and fucking whoop their ass like we did the Rams 31-13. So it has that feeling to me. So I'm going to say 27-21, but I would not be surprised if Jimmy actually plays really well with the pressure of it being his final game as a Niner, and we come out and fucking blow their ass out.
All right.
I'm telling you, Jimmy G that doesn't think is a better Jimmy G. That's why he's so good in 2 minutes.
Yep.
Very
Jimmy
much
G's
so.
going out there being like, hey, this might be my last game. Let's go have some fun. That's a good Jimmy G to be having right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Guys, comment your final score predictions. If you get it right, we'll send you some merch. You know the deal. One person has gotten it right in the 2 years we've been doing this. You could be the second person. Also, shout out to Dylan. Dylan had faith the entire year. We bet earlier in the year the Niners would make the playoffs.
We made that bet when we were 5, right?
Yep.
He made that bet when we were 3 and 5. He was like, we're making the playoffs. I was like, bullshit. I will bet you a jersey. And he was right. I was wrong. Shout outs to Dylan. Good job, man.
Yeah. He got in contact with us. I believe it was a Nick Bosa jersey. He switched it. I know he picked a Debo, I believe, at first. We're going to get that over to you. I'll send you tracking once it's available. Shout out to Dylan, though. We really appreciate all you guys. Come and join us Sunday after the game. We'll be here breaking it all down, good or bad. Hopefully good. Hopefully we're celebrating. Hopefully we're popping bottles.
This would be a fun weekend, dude.
Evolution of the beards. I like that.
That's funny,
Zach,
man.
Zach, we're gonna be popping bottles either way, bro. If they win, we're gonna be popping celebratory bottles. If we lose, we're gonna be popping sad bottles.
There you go.
Either way, come with
we're
us
gonna
on
be
Sunday.
popping bottles, taking in and striking Trey Lance freaking season finally if we lose.
Hey man, we should do this
Either
again
way.
for the post game, man. We should do that again.
That'd be great,
It'd be a
man.
good time. We got to get Zach out of here though, man. Let that young man get some rest.
Yeah, gotta get that voice right.
You see how he the smoothest cat on here, man. We all in here.
Always.
Just doing all he always look at it. Yeah, that's
Listen,
Zach.
I gotta line up against this dude every week. I'm looking slovenly in a t-shirt and a hat. This dude come in with a 3-piece suit with a tie and a pocket square. I'm
You
like,
got to do it, man.
Look
Look at my cartoon. Look at my cartoon. It's the expectation of me already. So I gotta keep.
I
up
know
with
people
it.
get mad when you wear like a t-shirt. They're like, "Oh, Zach, where's the suit, man?"
Yeah,
right.
I don't want to
All
wear
right.
this shit on a Sunday afternoon. What's
it
happening?
gets hot, man. No, all right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Though, have a fantastic Friday night. Go 49ers. Like I said, come back here Sunday. Hit like, hit subscribe. Matt, go ahead and carry us out.
Absolutely. Thank you as always for joining us. I want to thank Dion from the Niner Gang podcast. I know Brandon had to leave us, but Christian stepped in. We got the 49er Faithful podcast. Listen, everything on the 49ers Hive podcast. Jesse Naylor, thank you so much for joining us. This is the first time having you on here. You bring an excellent perspective. We love having you on. I hope we get to do it again. Maybe we can come on your show sometime. Go ahead and follow Jesse. He knows what he's talking about. He's one of the best in the biz. That being said, let's go out and kick some Cowboy ass on Sunday.
Kick their ass.
Exactly.
Punch them right in the mouth.
Hold on, guys. Let me put this on real quick for some luck.
Do it. Do it.
Is it a dress?
Hey.
The fucking
Hey.
the start of
Love
the
it.
dynasty against the fucking
Love
Cowboys.
it.
Let's go.
This is a
do it.
legacy. This is 49ers beating the Cowboys in the playoffs is a legacy. So let's
Fuck
continue
yeah, it
that
is.
this Sunday.
There you go.
Again,
Hey,
look, we got example after example after example.
I'm
This is
rocking the
gonna be-
Montana jersey on Sunday too.
Exactly. Either way, it's going to be a landmark day for the 49ers. Let's go out and get that dub. With that being said, until next time, go Niners.